So welcome to ChefConf.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you.
How are things going for you?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Good.
Yeah?
I need to give you a little warning.
A warning?
Yes. So I've been up since 3 a.m. It's the month of Ramadan. I'm fasting, so I had to get up early. And I might doze off during our conversation.
Oh, you might doze off during our conversation. Well, first, Ramadan Kareem.
Thank you.
Yes. Second, Carlos, if he dozes off, who's going to nudge him awake? You or me?
We'll switch.
Okay, we can take turns.
I think both have to. You know,
We might both
not
have
sure
to?
if I'll respond.
Okay.
Might have to.
All right. So actually, let's have some introductions. So, Mohammad, will you tell us a little bit about you?
All right. I'm Mohammad Malik. I'm with Toyota Financial since 2004. I started out as Unix engineer, had different roles, grew into different positions, and now I manage cloud services. Really, cloud services team is really infrastructure team with compute, virtualization, databases, storage, backup, and automation.
All right. Awesome. And Carlos?
Carlos Soriano, Manager of Cloud Automation Services. I started out at Toyota as a tools engineer, doing a lot of our monitoring, and I was lucky that I was empowered to play with shiny objects and managed to do a lot of things with our tools, with ServiceNow, now with our cloud. Got my promotion as a manager, and here I am today.
Promotion as a manager. Congratulations, Carlos. That's cool. So, how long have you been with Toyota Financial
About
Services?
6 years now.
6 years. So, I know you didn't start as a manager. Clearly,
No.
you just got that that promotion. But you started with the cloud 6 years ago at Toyota.
Well, actually, 6 years ago, we started just with a couple of tools, a lot of process. Our cloud is about 2 years old now.
Yeah.
It's the start of it, yeah.
All right, great. Well, I'd love to talk a little bit more about that journey. Maybe you could start off by telling us what is the mission of your team at Toyota Financial Services?
Mission is really like actually just not, our Toyota Financial Company mission and my team mission is really the same, right? It's really deliver always better service, right? And for us, really, my team is responsible for infrastructure, right? And our goal is really to empower our users, right? Build a reliable or deliver a reliable, secure, scalable infrastructure, and really empower our user, right? Give them self-service capabilities. And like Barry mentioned earlier, like effortless infrastructure, right? And I think that's what our goal is, right? That's what we're shooting for.
Yeah, effortless infrastructure. That's cool. So, what was happening in your organization in the past that made you realize you had to change? You had to move towards effortless infrastructure.
Okay.
Yeah, we basically started looking at the customer experience, and even we were consumers of that process. And we went from instances where it would take a month, 3 months sometimes to get infrastructure. That's not something that actually benefits the organization, nor does it foster bringing out new ideas to the organization.
1 to 3 months to get infrastructure.
Yeah.
Not okay.
Not okay.
Okay, very good. And so that's what drove you to change.
That's what started our drive through it. The rest of it became education and really looking at what the best practices and what was really better for the company.
All right, so take me up to today. What does your progress look like right now, and sort of what's coming next?
I think what we have right now is we have a fully functional hybrid cloud environment, right, where our users can go, right, and our applications teams can go and request infrastructure, right, without talking to any infrastructure team member, right, and basically, our goal was to really use a one portal, right, and not have to, have our applications go into different portals and request infrastructure. We use ServiceNow as our, service management platform. So we have a service catalog in our ServiceNow, right, and where users can go, select the infrastructure that they need, and they can just click it, and you get it done in minutes, right? And what we did, was that, our goal was to foster innovation, right? So we have different environments, right? Prod, sub-prod, dev, and sandbox environment, right? So in sandbox environment, we wanted to make sure, we can just give them without any approvals, right? They can just go in, right, request infrastructure, and without talking to anybody, right, just click and then get the servers provisioned, databases ready to go, and play with that environment. In dev, they can also go and do that, right? It has some governance around it, but it doesn't have very tight governance around it, right? And then prod and stage environments have more controls over it to make sure that you have a proper design when you're talking to InfoSec and different groups, right? You kind of have like the vet the design first and then get those things built out.
Great. And what was the process like? So you said we have to move faster, so let's just throw automation at it.
Yeah, it wasn't that easy. I wish it would have been that easy.
Oh.
Just throw tools at it and call it a day. No, it all started with a discovery of how we were doing things. And through that discovery, we realized we didn't know how we were doing things. We thought we had one process. We really had 5 or 6, and it really depended on who was the one building what that was doing whatever process they had recently learned. So we had to go through standardization. We went through changing what offerings we were going to have. We went and also changed our scope. We realized we weren't about to boil the ocean, so we minimized it. We were going to do Windows servers and we're going to do Linux servers, and that's what we're going to start with right then and there.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do them right. We're going to do them by best practice. We're going to do them to make sure that we educate the organization that you are living in a playground now. You are not in your own silo. You're not on physical servers. So the idea of 32 CPUs and 64 gigs of memory is out.
Yeah, yeah. So what was that transition like for the users? They're used to having their own environment where they're like the people that they have to concern themselves with is themselves. And now they have to concern themselves with, different level of infrastructure, and maybe like you said, they'll have partners, other customers, other employees on that same infrastructure. So what's the change been like for them?
The change has been really a learning experience, and again, it goes back to education. Once we were able to educate the organization on what's better for everybody and what's better for them, and then show them, look, when you actually don't get gigantic machines like you're used to in the physical world into the virtual world, your applications will perform a whole lot better. You're no longer impacting each other. And also the process of, look, you can play in our playground and you get something in 45 minutes, or we can go back the 3-month road.
And
which of them want to go back to the 3-month road?
No.
No, they don't want to go back to that.
No, actually, I would say some are, right? So, so we have, we still have legacy environments, and it's very, so one of the things that we did was, we said, these are the standard environments. You want them provisioned really quickly, go this way, right? And these are the custom environments, right? You need big giant machines and, some non-standard hardware and software, right? Go this way, right? So what Gartner called it bimodal IT, right? So we adopted that, right? And the majority of the workload that we're building today is really getting built in our cloud environment, right? But some are still, want to expand those legacy environments, and they still have a path, but it's a longer path.
Gotcha. And I imagine, as with most of the people in this room, that once you started automating, like the first thing you automated maybe took a little bit of time, but the next thing was a little faster, and the next thing, and you start to build this momentum. So was that your experience as well? And can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so we didn't really try to automate everything, right? And we did an assessment, right? Like we did an assessment of our people's, processes, technology. We identified where the gaps are, right? And then we, went through several POCs, right? We looked at different solutions, and we kind of refined our requirement. This is what the requirement is. This is what, our phase 1 looks like. This is where we want to get to, right? What the future vision is, right? And, then we kind of identified well, these are the gaps that we have, right? This is what we can leverage today, and these are the new technologies and tools that we need to adopt, right? So, we identified some solutions, right? We looked at Chef, right? And we didn't really have Ruby expertise, right? So we decided, hey, well, we have some homegrown scripts, right, that we could use. We could leverage that. We don't really need to convert them all into Ruby cookbooks, right? We could just make Chef use and then use those existing scripts, and then created that, automation framework through that, right, initially. And now Carlos has somebody dedicated writing, recipes full time. So that's kind of how initially our journey started, right?
Okay, so you started off with some scripts. You maybe threw those scripts into recipes, and if I'm hearing you correctly, you're now refactoring recipes. Okay,
we are refactoring, and thank you, by the way, for bringing a lot of those new Windows additions to Chef. That is helping us refactor a lot of old stuff that we had in there.
Oh, awesome. That's really great to hear. So, you work at Toyota. we're in the DevOps space, and I think that as DevOps, like we often look to other industries to think about how can we improve our own practices. And of course, we all know and love the Toyota production system. And it's really cool that you get to work inside an environment where that's what you do every single day. So I wonder if you could share with the audience and with myself, of course, some of those things that you take from the Toyota production system or from the Toyota way, and how can we take those back to our own companies and to our own daily work?
Okay. So, one of the things that we follow, right, like is what Toyota calls it Kaizen, right? Continuous improvement, right? And you build things and you continue, improving them, right? You're never really done, right? And that's how we started, building our cloud environment, right? Was
Right.
that, have a kind of a vision in mind, like what the future state is, but then kind of break it down into different, milestones, right? That, hey, we need to achieve this much in phase one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So our environment, like when we built it, it wasn't really perfect, right? But it was functional, right? And then we kept on adding more functionality, right? And now we can truly provision like IaaS, right? Infrastructure as a service. And now we're looking at offering more capabilities, right? Database as a service. I think that we're in the process of rolling that out, right? We're looking at container as a service. So we're looking, more services. And I think that's following just the Toyota practices, right? Just continuous improvement, and keep on just doing more iterations of, same thing and improving it.
Right. So, but when you get into a place of continuous improvement, what I also hear is that things are always changing. So how does that impact your users? How are they experiencing that? And what are you doing to help them adopt that change?
So luckily, that's where we've really leveraged our ServiceNow front end. We maintain that, our front end, to the average end user. They don't need to log into the monitoring systems. They don't need to log into the provisioning systems. They just need to know, look, I want a server, I need a database, and here's the same usual interface that I have. And then as we develop additional things, they get additional offerings that they're able to select from it, and then we keep that user interface friendly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, great. So you're focused on the user and helping them adopt the technology. That's really great. So you've been at Toyota for a while, both of you, and you've seen a lot of change. And I wonder if you could share for us just a minute, how has that change impacted you personally?
Oh, it's been quite educational, I would say. Especially when you come from an IT background, you're behind the keyboard and you're just like, okay, yeah, this is going to work for everybody because everybody thinks like I do.
Right.
And you realize as you start bringing things up to the organization that the main thing you got to keep in mind is you are providing a service to somebody, regardless of where you are in the organization. You are providing a service to somebody, and that's what you got to look at as your end goal is what kind of service are you providing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, one of the philosophies that we have is customer focus, right? And really, technology is cool, right? But it doesn't, if it's not benefiting your, user, your customer, then it becomes waste, right? So for us, that, one thing is just customer satisfaction is really important, right? To our internal customers and external customers. And I think that is how we, when we're doing different projects, that's what we have in mind, right? Is just focusing on user experience, making sure that, it's really beneficial to them, right? And really delivering a business value. One thing that I would say is, right, like, for us, the change, your team is really do change, right? And we went through a massive change, right? We relocated our headquarters from California to Texas, right? And it was a massive move, right? And I think, for us is we're used to change, right? And, we understand that we have to change, right? And I think business is changing, right? It's more online services, mobile services, customers and users want instant access, right? Rapid provisioning. And I think that's what we're shooting for is just, and then I think automation and orchestration and is that really the key for delivering those services.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really great. And your story is right in line with the stories that we've already heard this morning. Barry talked about effortless infrastructure and bringing your most ambitious self to work. And it sounds like through change, that's exactly what you're doing. And then that amazing story from Sue where she said, of course, we're focused on our customers, but the people that we're serving, potentially there's people outside of our organization. There's a bigger world that we can have a large impact on as we think about that.
Right.
Yeah. So thank you both very much. I have one final question for you. Are you going to be around for the rest of the conference? Can we come and find you and get a little more detail on stuff that you're talking about here?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Feel free. We'll be running around.
Excellent.
And, we'd love to share ideas, share lessons learned, and learn, what you guys are doing, right? And it's really, we have 5 people here and great community, so we'd love to connect and, learn from each other.
All right, great. Well, let's hear it from Mohammad and Carlos. Thank you very much. Thank you. Great. Thanks so much.